to address their fears and issues and concerns and interests, they would have come out today to queue and to vote. Okay, while we're still looking at the states and all of that, this is the phone number INEC says you can call 0700 22554362. Again, 0700 22554362. INEC says you can call that number if you have any complaints. There are about 21 or more lines connected to that one phone number. If you call there, you lay your complaints, whatever is happening around you as it concerns the elections. You've talked about this. Now, it doesn't look as if there's voter apathy in Abia State. But let's go down a little bit and see in Adamawa State what's going on there. Again, Adamawa is another state where our correspondent Larry Lassisi is there. He tells us that things were going on calmly and peaceably. About 1.3 voters are expected there, 153 wards and 21 local government areas. Captain, what would you be expecting to see from Adamawa?
From Adamawa, I actually look to see calm. I actually look to see tranquility. And I'll tell you why. Adamawa had its challenges a few months ago. It had to do with the governor.
Impeachment of the governor.
Impeachment of the governor and...
the courts, impeachment of the acting governor and deputy
governor.
And all of that.
The comedy and everything as it kept going on. And at a point in time, I think the events played themselves out. As I speak, I know the governor and the son were on a wanted list by the EFCC. Though I also know someone told me unverified, I haven't verified that the son won elections, senatorial, and the son is someone I know. We used to be classmates, and I know that things have leveled out and the pitch we are getting and the temperament, the general scenario from Adamawa is one of calm. I don't expect to see any severe or extreme actions coming up. But then I must reiterate something the old Kongi said, Oleshoenka, as the popular name we call him, and he said something about robustly handling these criminals, people who tend to do things that will truncate or even rubbish the majesty of our democracy. And I tend to agree with him because there are certain things you do that actually begin to cast doubts on the sincerity of you, the law enforcement, or you, the institution.
I think that's a place we'll pick it up from there, Adamawa, yes. Looking at those that have tried to truncate the process. Yes. A quick reminder here before we go on this short one that you can stay up to date, watch live election coverage and announcement of election results from INEC on your smartphone. Visit channelstv.com or type m.channelstv.com and enjoy 2 hours of streaming non-stop. Just dial *229 *3 *5 hash for just 400 naira. This is only available to a T-Select network. Stay with us on Nigeria 2015. We'll return. Well, if you check your time by now, accreditation is over, and we do hope the election proper, the voting proper, must have started. Very soon we'll be speaking with our correspondents from across the country to tell us where voting has commenced. And we were trying to look at some of the states here to picture some of them. We have looked at Abia as well as Adamawa, but Akwa Ibom is making the news. Information reaching us tells us that some issues are happening in Akwa Ibom State. As soon as we get to Chris Moffat, our correspondent there, we'll bring you more details on that. Nyota, Akwa Ibom is one area that, one state that wasn't listed in this list of flashpoint by NHRC, but all through the period of this election, it has always, it's a dominant feature there. It is a factor that we have always seen Akwa Ibom coming in the election process.
Indeed, Akwa Ibom, after we read out, the first time we got that press release from the NHRC, we read out the 8 states that they called, someone actually sent us a message to say, hey, that you're missing out a particular state. Akwa Ibom should be one of those flashpoint states that should have been mentioned. But just a note of correction here. The number I called out was 070022554362. That's the number Mr. Idowu of INEC called out to us. 0022554362.
Well, that number INEC is tweeting that is the wrong number. It's 4632. Yes, not
62.
Not 4362.
Okay, so Mr. Idowu, you correct yourself too. All right, that's the number the number last 4 digits 4632, not 4362. Please correct that. Now, Akwa Ibom.
Sorry, just to correct that. What exactly is the correct number? I think so that our viewers.
INEC is tweeting 0700
yes
22554632.
That's
not the earlier number that Mr. Idowu gave us. So please say 070022554632. So we're talking about Akwa Ibom with 1.5 million voters expected. Now, there's been a lot of reports about some people tweeting pictures of issues happening in Akwa Ibom. Again, we'll get details from our correspondent, Chris Moffat. But about 1.5 million voters are expected, 329 wards and about 31 or 32 local government areas. What do you think of Akwa Ibom, Captain?
Akwa Ibom, for me, is not surprising. Personally, the petty intrigues involved with the so-called contenders bores me. I don't go into it. I just look at it from a security practitioner's perspective. And based on what I know of what is happening there, all our law enforcement agencies need to do is to take out the masquerade. The boys that are shooting there are just remote controlled. They are just there to do the biddings of the masquerade. And that is exactly what Professor Wole Soyinka said. When law enforcement agencies themselves become pussy-footed on taking out these people and tracing them down to their sources, then they begin to actually cast doubts on the sincerity of the process and the law enforcement itself. That's why you hear people alluding to the fact that the police may have been bankrolled. But I tell you, if I had my way, I don't need 6 hours to put calm back into. In fact, what you need to do is to just set one golden example and you see others falling into line. We cannot have a 70% success rate in these elections and then 1.3% somewhere threatens the entire beauty of the process. The might of 170 million people is more than enough to trounce any troublemaker. But then, are our law enforcement agencies having the will to do that?
Umar spoke earlier about